Hello, everyone. Hope everything is. I hope you're having a great day. I hope everything is muy bono with you, and I hope you enjoyed the display of the wonderful Black European kings and queens. And I want to know: have you ever noticed one thing about that? How nobody wants to teach about the Black kings and queens. I mean, you have the conscious community in New York, all the black scholars and everything, but I don't hear them teaching about the black men that sat up on the thrones in Europe. You got all these big, supposed to be conscious people. I mean, they're not proud of that. They don't want to teach that to their kids and everything. You don't see the churches want to teach about it. You don't see the schools teaching anything about the black European kings and queens. Okay, have you ever noticed that thing? So I'm going to read this biblical verse and reflect on that situation a bit. This is Moses speaking to the Israelites, and he's telling them of their fate, of their future generations, right? So it reads like such: I said I would scatter them into corners, I would make the remembrance of them to cease from among men. Okay, seems very similar to the fate of the black European kings and queens as well. The remembrance of them has been ceased from among men, most definitely, systematically, institutionally wise. Okay? And I'll prove to you that they have been scattered. So, let's look at this name on this verse also. It says the King James Version. So let's look at King James' name. Well, King James's actual name is King Jacob. When you look on the coins, when it doesn't say King James, it says Jacobus. And his followers were the Jacobites. So we have Moses speaking to Israel's descendants. Israel's name was Jacob. So you had Moses speaking to Jacobites. And then you have King James and the Jacobites. And you have both of them sharing the same common fate that Moses spoke of. So we will proceed with that in mind. In the game of chess, you have two opposing kingdoms, right? Actually, two twin kingdoms of different colors. Very similar to the Esau and Jacob story in the Bible. Okay, that's two twins of different colors also as well. So we can say we have one kingdom is black, one kingdom is white, one kingdom is dark, one kingdom is light, one kingdom is melanated, one kingdom is pale, one kingdom is Negroid, and one kingdom is Caucasian. And both of these kingdoms, they are equal kingdoms. They're twin kingdoms. They're both sophisticated. They're both Christian kingdoms. They have the cross on top of their king's crowns. They have bishops. They have cavalry men on horses. They have soldiers. Okay, so they're equal. As they sit there in peace, right? But a rank has been slapped on the game because the white side says the white square has to be on the right. So the white is right. The white is to the right. And the black is what's left to the left. That's how the game is set up. White slap rank. And also the white makes the first move towards the black kingdom. So the black kingdom has to react to the aggressive move of the white kingdom. Okay? So that's the nature of this game. And most people are aware that in Europe they had a Christian white kingdom, but they're unaware that they had a black Negro kingdom in Europe, okay, as well. The fact is, we had Negro kingdoms in Europe that ruled forever. The Holy Roman Empire, Otto the Great, he's the king of Saxony. He's the king of Italy. He's the king of Germany. And he is the first Holy Roman Emperor. And that's his wife sitting next to him, Edith. She is the Queen of England. Okay? And they were married in 929 AD. Okay? King James is a descendant of Edith. And these people right here, they are swarthy colored people. Swarthy colored people. Okay? These are Negro kingdoms of Europe that ruled over there forever. For long time, since ancient times. And in Spain, forever. Paul said he went to Spain 2,000 years ago to visit Hebrews in Spain. What color do you think those Hebrews are in Spain? The same color as these people right here. They're all from the same family. So in Europe, where they played this game of chess and where this game of chess was created and played, the actual real game of chess between two twin kingdoms of different colors were played out in real life, right? One kingdom was swarthy. Which kingdom do you think is swarthy between these two kingdoms? The white kingdom or the black kingdom? Well, the black kingdom will be swarthy because swarthy means you have hue in your skin, means black complexion. One kingdom is steward. Okay, which one is steward? Well, the black kingdom will be steward because steward is related to swarthy. It's a complexion. Okay, so we get the picture about that. So in this game of chess that was fought out in Europe between these two kingdoms, the white kingdom won and defeated the swarthy kingdom, the stewards. But then when it defeated them, it attempts to assume its identity, but it has one problem. It's the wrong complexion. You see? That's the problem. And the name of the black kingdom is steward, which means in reference to its complexion. So that's the dilemma of the white kingdom. And by them trying to assume the identity of the black kingdom and erase the black kingdom from history, it sets off an identity crisis because of the identity theft. It's the identity theft going on. So we're going to proceed and we're going to prove this identity theft the whole 9 yards. Okay. So let's look at the word swarthy. Okay, swarthy here at the bottom. Dark in complexion, black, dusky, taunty. So we get the idea. Taunty and swarthy mean a dark complexion, black. Okay, up top here we got sword. Okay, that's like steward. Sword. It's the root words steward and sword from the same root words. That was the name of the king, the stewards. From the root word sword. It's like Schwarz in German also. Okay? So now we got the idea and the definition of the word swarthy. Swarthy doesn't relate to Caucasian in no form or manner. Those are two different things. So you have swarthy on one hand, you have Caucasian on the other hand. Two different sides of the spectrum. Here we have a letter from Benjamin Franklin. It's entitled America as the Land of Opportunity. Benjamin Franklin was the President of the United States. This document will be very revealing as to the population of Europe at the time he wrote this letter in 1751. Also, the population of America at the time he wrote this letter. Also, what happened to the population, the black population of Europe. Okay? So, this letter he's talking about uh, the increase of population of mankind and the opportunities in America and so forth. And also, he says he wants to, at the bottom here, says maintain America entirely for the Anglo-Saxon society. Okay, so we're going to read this letter from Benjamin Franklin, and it's going to be very revealing. Okay. Okay, we're going to begin reading at this purple highlighted section. Here's Benjamin Franklin's remarks, which leads me to add one remark that the number of purely white people in the world is proportionately very small. So, according to Benjamin Franklin's perception in 1751, the amount of purely white people in the world was proportionately very small. Okay? All of Africa is black or taunty. So he said all Africa is black or taunty. So black and taunty, they mean Negro. Okay? Asia chiefly taunty. So we already established and understand that Asia is taunty and taunty is black or Negro, definitely not Caucasian. America exclusive of the newcomers, wholly so. So he said America exclusive of the newcomers, which would be the Caucasians, is wholly so taunty also. So it's all black people in America also. So it's already black people in America already. Okay. And in Europe, the Spaniards, Italians, French, Russians, and Swedes are generally what we call swarty complexion. So he said that there's black people in all these countries in Western Europe. Spaniards, Italians, French, Russians, Swedes are generally what we call swarty. Swarty, we already established, that is Negro and not Caucasian in any kind of way. Okay, those are not white people. And as are the Germans also. So the Germans are swarty also. Swarty, okay, got it. The Saxons only excepted who, with the English, make the principal body of white people on the face of the whole earth. So he said that Saxons and the English, so this is the white Anglo-Saxons, make up the principal body of white people on the face of the earth. That was his perception in 1751. So he's saying that the population of Western Europe is predominantly all Negroid in 1751. Okay, so let's continue. I could wish their numbers were increased, and while we are, as I may call it, scouring our planet by cleaning America of woods, and so making this side of the globe reflect a brighter light to the eyes of inhabitants of Mars or Venus. Why should we, in the sight of superior beings, darken its people? Why increase the sons of Africa by planting them in America? So right there he's saying, you have these sons of Africa in Europe. Why should we be bringing them over to America? Okay? Where we have so fair an opportunity by excluding all blacks and taunties. So he said in America, we're going to exclude all the black and taunties. You don't want to be bringing more over here. It's already blacks over here, but we're going to be able to exclude them. We don't want to bring any more of increasing the lovely red and white. So he says he wants to increase the lovely red and white. But perhaps I am partial to the complexion of my country, for such kind of partiality is natural to mankind. Okay, so this letter of Benjamin Franklin, his plea to stop shipping black people from Europe to America is very revealing of the population in Europe at that time, was predominantly Negro. That's in 1751, and that they were shipping them out, okay, to America. Can't overlook that. And this was 5 years after the last Jacobite uprising at Calder de Moor, where after they defeated us, they shipped us out at that time too, and destroyed all evidence of us ever being in Great Britain. Okay, so we have established that fact from the words of the big honcho president Benjamin Franklin. So we have to thank Benjamin Franklin on that one. Very revealing. I'm going to bring your attention to a great article, okay? It's from a book written by a brilliant Caucasian historian, okay? This guy is a very sincere, honest guy. See, all Caucasians don't hide the truth and all that, and they know a lot too, right? In this chapter, it bears the original image of a black King James, okay? And this image is located in New College Library, Edinburgh, United Kingdom. So let me get right into it. I note that this image of a black King James can be a little confusing because of your Western education, but this is the truth that is known by the rich and the elite of the world. That was the reason I paraded all of the English historians and professors before you before I got into the bowels of this book. It was a very good setup, right? I had to get your mind ready to receive the truth. King James came from a long line of black Scottish Stuart kings, so he recognizes Stuart and black go together, okay? These are synonymous terms, they mean the same thing. Uh, 343 years of rulership in Scotland. The Stuarts not only ruled in Scotland, they ruled France, Spain, Ireland, England, Britain, Wales. King James was able to rule all of these lands because all of these people were of Iberian black descent. Okay, this guy, he's very brilliant. He dropped a bomb. I learned a lot when I read this. I knew all this, but just to read it, for him to phrase it like this is just so brilliant. And that's how it was. And everybody knows that the black Islamic Moors liberated Spain in 711. And when they entered Spain, the black Jews were already there. They liberated Spain from Arian Christians. And they ruled for, 800 years and were expelled in 1492. The black Jews and the black Moors were fighting together against the Arian Christians and lost and were expelled together to North Africa. That's what they don't want people to understand. And that's the same year Columbus sailed the ocean blue. All of this is interconnected, okay? Because they were piggybacking where the Moors had already went to, the Spaniards, to gobble up, those kingdoms for themselves, having sellouts on the boats, telling them where the kingdoms were. And they ended up they sent out the Magna Carta mandate to gather up those kings and send them into slavery also, when they exiled to North Africa. Morocco is right over the 8 miles of water, North Africa. That's where they expelled to. They don't want people to understand that also. So let's get one thing established of these preliminaries. The Jacobite wars were race wars to try to restore the black Stuart kings to the throne of Great Britain. And it was full of, everything, intrigue, betrayal, all kinds of things, right? Secret agents. And so, that being said, this guy John Macky, he was a paid hired secret agent, okay, and, to go spy on the Jacobites, right, and give a report of the court of the Jacobites. So we don't know if he was a brother or Caucasian, right? He was just a sellout, okay. So so here we have the memoirs of the Secret Services of John Macky, and in these memoirs, it gives detailed descriptions of the physical characteristics of the court of the stewards, right? So we're going to use that to break this identity crisis and this identity theft code, okay? So here we go. So this is a description of the court of Great Britain, okay, given by the spy John Macky, who was hired to spy on the court of the Jacobites. And this is a description of Daniel, Earl of Nottingham, Secretary of State. And it reads, he hath also an exterior air of business, and application enough to make him very capable. In his habit and manners very formal, a tall, thin, very black man, like a Spaniard or Jew, about 50 years old. So it says tall, thin, black man like a Spaniard or a Jew. So I guess it was common knowledge in those days, that most Spaniards and Jews were black. Okay, want to just clear the air, get that out there. For all the people just in denial and all that. Don't want to fess up on things. But so this guy on the right is what they are parading around as Daniel, the Secretary of State. He doesn't fit the description at all. Okay? This is shenanigans. And this really needs to stop. Okay? Thing is, his complexion is wrong, man. Nothing you can do about it. Listen, you're trying to hide this for so long, but the truth has to come out. You know, this guy right here, and they put an ethnic wig on this guy, right? So this is the actual description from the spy, and it doesn't match up at all, bruh. So this is shenanigans straight up right here. So this shenanigans and this identity crisis and identity thievery, theft, it really needs to cease so people can heal the nations. You know what I'm saying? This is you cannot pretend to be black people, okay? And then the left slide over here, we have Charles, the Duke of Somerset, and his physical description is: he is of middle stature, well shaped, a very black complexion, a lover of music and poetry, of good judgment, but by reason of a great hesitation in his speech wants expression. He is about 42 years old. Okay, so this brother right here, this Jacobite right here, he has a speech impediment. He is obviously a Negro. So let's go to the right slide over here. This is Sir Stafford Fairborn, Vice Admiral. His description is: he is very brave, much of a man of honor, loves to play and bottle a little, have good sense, is fat, swarthy, of a Moorish complexion, towards 50 years old. So this brother right here has a Moorish, swarthy, dark complexion as a Moor. So now we get an idea of what Moors are categorized as. Moors are black people. They always trying to say that they're not. No, this Come on, stop playing games. Okay, so now we're going to look at this one in the middle slot right here. We have two descriptions in this slot. This guy up top here, it says, a handsome man of brown complexion, turn of 50 years old. Okay, that's how that brother is. That's how that steward is. That Jacobite. Now here we have Earl of Kingston. Says, of the name and the family of Pierrepoint, have a good and fine estate, is a very fine gentleman, of good sense, well bred, and a lover of the ladies, entirely in the interest of his country, makes a good figure, is of a black complexion, well made, not 40 years old. So this brother right here, he was a magnificent brother, and these are not Caucasian people. So look, over with the shenanigans, okay? This is just on principle. Caucasians are not stewards, are not Jacobites. Period. You can't change your skin color. Ethiopians can't change their skin color. Tigers can't change their stripes. Caucasians can't change their skin color. Okay? And that's just how it is. So what were the Jacobite wars? And what was the battle at Culloden Moor? Final battle fought on British soil. Well, those battles were black people, the stewards, the Jacobites, trying to restore their kingdom who had been lost to the Caucasians. That's what it was, and that's what they don't want people to understand. And at Culloden Moor was the final battle. They crushed the Jacobites, okay? And atrocities were committed. Babies were killed, women were killed, land was confiscated, and the man who did it was the butcher. His name, they named him the butcher from what he did, General Cumberland. After they brutalized them and killed them, and the remainder was shipped off to America to serve as slaves, so they wouldn't have any more troublemakers over there. Okay, so the descendants of those people are in America right now, not knowing what happened at all. Okay, so we have to paint the perimeters right, because they have whitewashed this, and it's creating an identity crisis. So now we know who the combatants are, and we will look into this further. So this is the butcher, Duke Cumberland. He committed many war atrocities. That was his job, to kill the black people. He killed babies, children with no mercy. So let's read about this. No mercy. The French and Irish were treated as regular soldiers, allowing them to a formal surrender, and were sent to France. On the other hand, the Jacobites were considered traitors to the Hanover dynasty and were shot. Cumberland, Butcher Cumberland, pacifying the Highlands. Cumberland had no mercy. All the wounded were finished off on the battlefield. The prisoners were shot. Cumberland did not stop there. He continued to march into Inverness, murdering everyone suspected of being Jacobite. Even women and children were victims to his inclemency. Cumberland remained in Scotland and turned the army into an armed police to continue the purge, killing, raping, stealing, which earned him the nickname the Butcher. Okay, this guy right here just demolished and just brutalized the black people. And after they did all of this, they shipped them off to slavery so they wouldn't have no more Jacobite wars and uprisings. This has to be understood. This is the last battle on British soil, and it's for a reason, okay? And they don't want people to understand who the combatants are, because they shipped them off to America. The people who were in this war, their descendants, are in America right now, totally oblivious to the past of their people. And we have records of that also.
So let's shed some light on what happened to the Jacobites culture after the war by the Duke of Cumberland the Butcher. So let's read. The consequences of the Gaelic culture. The Jacobites clans lost their lands. Their members escaped from the island or were captured and sent to the ultra-sea colonies, almost as slaves. It's no such thing as an almost slave, okay? The Episcopalian religion was forbidden, the Catholic religion already banned. Finally, with the Act of Proscription of 1746, the clan system was abolished, along with wearing Highland clothing, carrying weapons, bagpipes. The Scottish Gaelic ceased to be a relevant language.
What we can see here is they sent them off into slavery and destroyed all records and history of them ever being in Great Britain. What we have here is a very revealing book. It's a book about the Jacobite gleanings, which is the same as ethnic cleansing, okay, from the state manuscripts, short sketches of Jacobites, the transportation in 1745. This is where they were transporting, exiling Jacobites away from Britain over to the colonies. Okay, these would be like prisoners or people undesirables of people, Jacobites, and ethnic cleansing them and shipping them out. And they kept records of that, right? So this will identify who the Jacobites are, what their physical makeup is, and that they were physically shipped out, gathered, gleaning. I mean, they were collected, ethnic targeted, collected, and then they were transported out. And this book has it all in here in one book. So let's get into this book and just cement this down that the Jacobites, the black people, were shipped out, ethnic cleansing. So let's get right into this. So here we have an exact list and description of 150 rebel prisoners shipped at Liverpool on board the veteran John Ricky Master for the Leeward Islands. So this guy, John Ricky, he traveled a long way with his boat, which were taken near Antigua. So they were already taken near Antigua, already on the side of the New World, okay, shipped out. The 28th June last, okay, by the diamond privateer Paul Marcel, commander, and carried into Martinico the 28th June 1747. So here we have the evidence of 150 Jacobites. It says rebels and prisoners. So these are black people they're getting rid of. Okay? This is like plain, as day. And it has their description. So this is what you call ethnic cleansing. Okay? Gleaning. Gathering up the Jacobites and shipping them out. Okay? Exiled. That's what this is. Okay, so we will look at their descriptions and it'll tell where they came from in Britain, what their professions were, and their physical descriptions, proving that the Jacobites were all black people and they were shipped out, okay, exiled to the New World to work as servants and slaves. So let's analyze this list of these Jacobites, okay? So let's look at their description here. Let's take it from the top. You got
Robert Adams, a laborer. He's from Stirling, over there in Britain. He's brown, smooth face. Then the next guy, William Bell, he's a weaver. He's from Berwick, 5'4", black, curled hair, strong male. So we see how this works here, right? So the next guy is brown complexion, well made, ruddy. The next guy is black ruddy. He's well made too. That's ditto ditto. The next guy is brown. He's well made. That's ditto ditto. The next guy's brown. That's ditto ditto. Next guy's brown. Next guy's brown. The next guy's red. You got no. This guy has red hair, thick, set, healthy. The next guy is ruddy, slim, male. Next guy is black, well made, strong. Ditto. The next guy is black, well made, strong. The next guy is brown. The next guy is black. The next guy is brown. The next guy is brown. Next guy's black. Next guy's brown. Ditto. Black. Okay, so it's obvious that these Jacobites are black people, and we have the whole list here. I'll post it up so you can view it right now. Okay, our point is made. What I would like to do now is read 2 paragraphs from page 66 of this book that will be very revealing as to the destination and the conditions that the Jacobites had to endure. Reverting to the transported prisoners, there are no statistics as to the rate of mortality of these in the various colonies and plantations to which they were sent. Bishop Hay, in his Jacobite MEMOIRS, tells of 81 Highlanders who were tempted to submit in Inverness, and were thereupon placed on board the king's vessels, and subjected to the wretched treatment in them. Those who survived were sent to Barbados, where only 18 were alive 3 years after, out of 81. As you can see, they were subjected to horrible treatment. This next chapter on page 66 is so revealing. Okay. John Fiske, in his Old Virginia and Her Neighbors, rather delights in the circumstance that many Scottish prisoners became colonists in America, 150 having been sent to Boston, and 1,670 to Virginia in the year 1650 by Cromwell. Cromwell was the guy who was wiping us out and shipping us out, who captured them in Dunbar. See, he was rounding us up. Ethnic cleansing. The rising in 1715 was responsible for the deportation of about 1,000. That was the first Jacobite uprising. And the rebellion of 1745 for probably about 1,600, if forced soldiers and indentured prisoners to be taken together. So that 1745, that was the second Jacobite uprising at Culloden Moor. And so another 1,600 were taken then. As to the later period, Fiske says, later on in 1745, after the suppression of the Jacobite rebellion, there came to North Carolina a powerful reinforcement of Scottish Highlanders. So they sent a bunch of us over to North Carolina. Among them, many of the Clan MacDonald, including the romantic Flora MacDonald, who had done so much for the young fugitive prince. So they saying the Jacobites who was doing an uprising, who was royalty, who was helping the prince restore the throne, was shipped to North Carolina. So as we can see, the Jacobites had to endure horrible conditions on the king's vessels, being shipped from Britain to the colonies to serve as indentured servants, forced soldiers, and to work on the plantations. A lot of questions have been answered as far as who are the Jacobites and what is their physical makeup. We know the game that's being played as far as the identity crisis. And by knowing that, I can retrieve my own identity. We know about the story about what happened at Culloden Moor in the last battle on British soil when the Jacobites arose and tried to reclaim their kingdom, but ended up being crushed, destroyed, and then scattered into exile away from the British Isles, and all remembrance of them being erased away as their conquerors tried to assume their identity. We'll let this be the end of part 2, and then we'll pick up this same story in part 3.